Hi, welcome to Senior Living Straight Talk. This talk is geared towards retirees. My name is Connie, and I welcome you all. I just really do. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the proposed 22.5% cut in our Social Security benefits that should happen in about 7 years. You know, I just don't want that to happen. I don't suppose you want that to happen. Nobody can afford 22%. That's 22% off the top of everything. That's 22% of your spendable income. That'll be gone. So I wanted to just explore some ideas of how it affects us and what we can do. So let's start with how can it affect us? Well, let's start with the monthly budget. Are you able to do a monthly budget? Are you in your spouse or you yourself incapable? Are you just stubborn? You got plenty of money, so you're just going to go right on by? You know, my husband and I don't do a budget. We've never done one. We probably don't even know how to do one. But when we think about our living, our budget is such an important part of it. Now, there are so many things that take part in that. So there's housing costs. Are you renting or are you purchasing? Do you own your home outright or do you have to pay rent? As we pay rent, as we can see recently, the rents have gone up countrywide. And that is a big, big step for us to take as the economy keeps rising. Hopefully it slows down, but I don't foresee it changing much. And I don't see it going back down to where it was. So that's something that we've got, housing costs and the maintenance of it. Those two things added together. Food and utilities. Well, food, we have a certain amount we spend, and then we don't think much about it. We just go ahead. We can maybe eat out 2-3 times a month. We play golf or whatever we want to do. And we just don't think about it. But the food isn't a very important part of it. We need to eat healthy as we get older. Maybe we can eat smaller amounts, or maybe we don't need that extra stuff that we have. So those things can be cut out. As we cut out our budget, as we cut down our food costs, our budget naturally goes down. But we find also that maybe we don't need all that food that we think we do. Utilities. The utilities are another cost. Utilities are mostly your electric and your water. Now, electric and water, ours are together, so they come on the same bill. I always know the electric part is smaller than the water part. The water part is higher, and that's my fault. We have 2 dogs, and I wash their things frequently, probably 3-4 times a week. That sounds like a lot, but I don't have a basement, so I don't have any place to put those stinky things until it's time for me to wash them. So I'll throw them in the washer. So our water is higher. The healthcare services, the healthcare expense. Healthcare can be either Medicare or an Advantage plan. Depends on which one you have, how much your expenses are. Your Medicare costs for a subsidy can be $200-300 a month per person. So let's say you and your husband both have that. Well, all of a sudden you've got a $400 or $500 bill on your budget. just on your budget. And you may not spend $400 or $500 a month, but when you do spend it, it comes in handy. I know I had one in the beginning, my first couple of years, and it was nice. I never had to worry about anything. But you know what? I was healthy, and I decided to let it go to an Advantage plan. Now, the Advantage plan has equal things. I pay a copay, and then I go on my way. I don't pay for my PCP. I just go in and see her, and that's it. So that's got that advantage. Both of those advantages are very good, but even so, we still have to look at the cost either way. Once, I'm not going to go into all that, but once you decide, that's the one you better stick to, because it's a lot easier in your long run. So, what about people who live on Social Security only? People that get SNAP benefits or LIS, low income subsidy, they are hurt even worse. They may make enough money to get those things, and they cover them, but still the amount of money that they actually make is not that much in retrospect. What about the people who were making it and suddenly they got a little higher? They got an increase. Maybe they got $100 a month on a pension. Maybe they got another small amount of money. That can happen too to people. And then all of a sudden, you make too much money. You make more than you're allowed on the schedules of events. So you always got that to consider. Let's see. I've got my notes here to look at. Where do I turn the page? Okay. So these things are going to be discussed, as I said before, over and over and over again. The closer we get to the 7-year mark, the more they will be discussed. And I think they should be. I think they need to be loud and clear so that everybody is aware of a 22% cut. I know I will be. I will be reminding you every couple of months, what have you done for your 22% cut? What are you preparing for? It's hard to figure out 22% less income. How can that affect the retirees? Well, delaying retirement is one way you can avoid it. I always cringe when I hear of somebody retiring at 62 because they are, for the rest of their lives, giving up 1/3 of their payment. Now, they may think, oh, I'm retired, I can relax. Yeah. Wait till you can't make the bills. Wait till your lifestyle changes. Wait till your husband passes and he doesn't have as much money. So you're stuck with what you make. Or wait till your wife passes and she doesn't make much money. So then you're left with your money. So either way, you're going to be stuck for the most part on that retirement income. So it's much better to wait until you're 67, 68. You're going to be more ready to retire, believe it or not. Now, I'm not saying work the same job. You can quit your job. You can go find another job. And that job doesn't need to be full-time. It could be part-time. If you can figure out your expenses enough so that a part-time job helps you, then go for it. But for the majority of us, 67 is a nice place to be. It's just 67, 68. You can live and be active years after that. When Social Security was first implemented, 62 was listed as an early retirement age. And back then, 62 was an early retirement age. This is going back 50 years. And the costs were so much less. So you could conceivably retire and live comfortably. But what happened when you hit 90? Then you're in problems because guess what? Now inflation has hit. And that makes it a lot harder for you living on that 62-year income. I don't want that to happen to anybody. I hate to see that happen. It's just not good for you. For one thing, increased cognitive abilities increases your longevity. And I truly believe that. I believe that if you keep your mind active, and it doesn't have to be work, it can be volunteer work or any number of things, but if you keep your mind active, you're going to live longer. So you quit your job and you go find a new job. Guess what? Now you're learning new things and you're meeting new people and you're looking at things so very different that it looks pretty good. So I think everyone should consider retiring at 67, but if you cannot, then you need to retire at 62. Or if you're a widow or one of those things, 60 or 62 is much better. But if you can, try to make it to 67, 68. While you're delaying retirement and you're looking for work, well, now you got a part-time job. Make sure you save some of that part-time job into an immediate emergency fund, because we always have emergencies. You could have an emergency on your car, your house, any number of things. What if you all of a sudden had to move and you didn't have a down payment? Those type of things. We need to have an emergency fund. So you increase your savings that way, and that helps you a lot. I just had an emergency for $200 on Monday when I go for my CAT scan, my carotid artery scan. I've got to give them $200 copay. Well, when she called me about it, I said, I don't have a copay. No. But of course I do. So I've got it figured out. I've got it figured out where it's coming from, and that $62 or that $192, $200 will get paid when I'm at the doctor's office. But if I didn't have anything to fall back on, anything at all, I wouldn't get the carotid artery scan. I would just make it just disappear, something like that. But I don't want to do that. I want to find out, and that's the way to do it. Another thing we need to do is adjust our expectations. Now, our expectations are what we plan on when we hit retirement. We can plan that when we're 30, 40, 50, 60, anytime. When I retire, I'm going to do this. When I retire, I'm going to go there. And we hope to be able to do that. But guess what? Inflation has hit. A 20% budget on top of that makes it even tougher for us. And it's going to be tough. It's going to be real hard. So your expectations get cut down. Maybe you can't make that trip to Europe. Maybe you can't go to the Hawaiian Islands. Maybe you can't go to Alaska. But you can, by car, travel around the United States. And that's what I would suggest you do. And we have done that. And we have made, and we did that early on. We have made some wonderful trips. And we've seen things that, petroglyphs. I've dreamt about petroglyphs since I was young. Guess what? I get to see petroglyphs, and it's so cool. The Yellowstone. And we had dinner in the big hotel, and I got waited on by a waiter who was a replica of an old-time waitress. It's awesome. It's awesome to experience that. So we can change our expectations. We can downplay them and we can change them. They do not need to be as grand as they once were. And you can still have a wonderful time. All the cruises people take. Cruises are wonderful, but there again, how many times can you cruise before it becomes old? So try to look at variety. Try to look for variety and verity. Verity? Is that a word? I don't know. A different set of what you're looking at. Now, we hope to go to the Alaskan frontier next year. We hope. Depending on how we straighten up our thing, we're busy paying off our credit cards, and that'll be grand when that is done, and that hopefully will leave us a little money, providing health allows us to go. So, there are things you can do in advance to prepare. But other than that, what can we do now? Well, now we can do the same thing I talked to you in the beginning. We can review our budget and cut it back where it needs to be cut. Make sure we're not overspending. All those little things, and we need to build an emergency fund, and that will take care of those emergencies we need. Even if it's a big emergency and doesn't cover all of it, it will cover a chunk of it. And so we need to have that emergency fund. And expenses. Now, reduce any unnecessary expenses. I did this last January. I sat down with my credit card, my debit card, my checking account, I just went through, and I went through everything. I was amazed. Everything, how much I cut out of my budget. And all total, I probably did about $150 out of monthly. That was just coming out. I didn't even know it was coming out in some cases. Some cases I looked at something and I didn't know that meant I would automatically be enrolled and I'd automatically get a bill. And it would bill my through my phone, it would bill whatever credit card I had there. So I got rid of them. I canceled them all. And that's very, very important to do. Considering working part-time. Now, I don't want to say if you're not retired yet to work part-time, because life takes a lot out of you. But if you're 65 and you want to retire and you only got 2 years to wait for the Social Security check and you got enough money to get to that 2 years, but I want to retire. Well, retire, but work part-time. Get your own gig, whatever. I know we live in a 55 community, and the only person we're missing here is an electrician. We need a retired electrician. Beyond that, we have a plumber who could come and take a look and let you know, do you need to call this, that, whatever. Landscaper, how are your sprinklers going? How are your handyman stuff? Everyone needs a handyman at some point. And I don't care if it's to replace a door or if it's to do a remodel. It's expense. And usually the handymen at work, they will give you a discount because they know this is a senior community. So that works really good. You can start your own side business. You can do something that you've worked at your whole life, or you can do something that you like. Take a hobby and turn it into a business. Something like that is very, very good. So all of those things count as for something that you can do. Plan instead of worrying. Don't worry about worrying. There's a bug here. There is nothing to be gathered from worrying. It's just a matter of stress to your body, and you don't need that stress. So you don't want to worry all the time. Realize that changes are going to be debated over and over again. You're going to hear more and more of it. And as that happens, then you're going to hopefully become more aware of it. But hopefully you'll also have already started all the things you need to do. Because if you're leaving yourself 2 or 3 years, that isn't a lot of time. So, we've got to be prepared, all that stuff. So let me ask you, would 22% cut in Social Security check hurt you? How would you handle it? Let me know in the comments, because I enjoy knowing that. And in the meantime, I'm going to read this one because I can't remember the words, but retirement planning isn't just about money. It's about saving the changes and protecting the life that you have worked hard to build. This is a new part of your life, and you can't go back. You want to stay on the course you are. So we got to protect it. And the one way to protect it is to know about it. Somewhere that is just bugging me. So in the meantime, like, subscribe, share, and I welcome you back for our next one. Please feel free to write comments, and God bless to you all. Thank you.